Show. I'm your host, Kente, all the way live from Los Angeles, California. This is episode number 138. I'm joined by the beautiful, the talented, the taco loving Shannon. How you doing, Shannon?
Hi, how are you?
I've noticed something like
What?
this week and last week. You have like this glow about you. Where's that glow come from?
Today is probably deliriousness because I worked overnight last night.
Overnight. Wow.
So um, I didn't get as much sleep as I wanted to. So this is probably the delirium growth today. And I got on my taco shirt, so I'm in a really good mood. Even though I did not have tacos today, I had tacos last night though.
Okay. Well, I'm glad that you were in such a great mood because, like I said, that's the Shannon I grew up on. So any other Shannon that I come across, I'm like, this don't feel like the real. So I'm glad. I am glad because everybody in Omaha, Nebraska, they're just smiley, happy people, right?
That's probably not true. Um, I am one of my kind.
Oh, okay. Well, I'm glad that you're here, and I'm glad that you. This is a topic that you came up with: second chances. Now, let me start off by saying something, right? I
What?
I've been involved with just second chances in love, right?
Okay.
I've at my behest, at the behest of the young lady that I was involved with, um, and I can say that there's good and bad about second chances, right?
Okay.
Um, there's this thing that people throw around a lot, and it's called closure.
Mm,
And sometimes what second chances give you is closure, because what happens is you'll date somebody and let's say it doesn't, they didn't cheat on you or something crazy, but it just didn't work out. And then time goes by and then you start thinking like, I could have made it work with that person. You start believing that you could have. And sometimes you need to go back to realize, you know what? There was a reason why it didn't work, you know? So in that regard, second chances can be good, I think. I've seen successful relationships happen because of second chances. I've known people who, actually I've seen it on the fourth chance work. So,
yeah.
but I wouldn't hang my hat on it, but I've seen it, you know. And Steph says in the chat room, second chance is just a confirmation that shit would never work. so, so
Hey,
basically, what Steph is saying, get your first chance with her right, because there won't be a second chance, right? So so I've definitely been a part of this, giving someone a second chance. I've been a part of, uh, you know, I just was in a relationship, which was, plenty of people marry the same person twice,
they
right?
do. They do, and that's really sweet.
My last relationship was a second chance of sorts. We used to date a long time ago, and then we broke up, and then we tried it again, and you know, Um, I could say that it wasn't a mistake because I was always thinking about that person over the years,
Hmm.
and I always felt like I always felt like she was the one that got away,
Mm.
you know. And I guess I needed that experience of the failure of our of our relationship, so that now I experienced that and I'm good. You know what I'm saying? Like, um, so I don't know. So when you think of second chances and your experiences with giving someone a second chance or being a part of a second chance relationship, what do you think?
Well, I mean, it covers so many different things. It's not just romantic. Um, it could be professional. It could be in a friendship. Um, I have had a second chance in friendships as well as relationships. Some for the good and some for the not so good. But I take them as lessons and not losses when they don't work.
Hmm. Um, what do you think about? Because not every relationship ends on a terrible note.
Of course not.
Sometimes you guys can agree to disagree and sometimes be friends afterwards. It does happen.
Yeah.
So when we talk about whether or not to give someone a second chance,
Kente, what are you eating?
you're pretty good. You know, I thought you were going to talk a little longer to give me a chance.
I'm like hungry. I'm like, this lavender blueberry vitamin water is not enough. So I'm sorry to distract you.
Steph said, looking at it from a gender perspective, men rarely give second chances and women are too forgiving. Great sex then clouds people's memories. That's true. I don't know. You know, do men rarely give second chances? Is that true? Because I know some guys that you know, are they outliers? I know guys that
I think it's circumstantial. I think it depends on the circumstance. I do think there is a accuracy on the greater percentage of what Steph is saying. But I also believe that there are circumstances where there is an exception to that rule. And that rule is a generalization, but yet it has very much truth to it. I do think women are more forgiving, but that does not mean that men can't be forgiving as well.
I'm going to censor Steph's comment. She says, "I feel like brothers never cut me a break."
Well, I mean, if they're your brother, they probably wouldn't cut you a break anyway.
Well, well, not brothers, but brothers.
I know what you meant. I read the comment.
Right. Ramsey says yes. Rather than being alone, he will go back to crazy. Yeah,
that's the problem. I think we are so conditioned to, and we soft generalization here. We are so conditioned to being with people, even if we know they're not the right person for us. It's like sometimes you got to be comfortable and content with yourself so that you stop being crazy. Stop going back to crazy.
Dre says a good instance is a childbirth. If a man gave birth one time, then that will be their last child. But a woman will have multiple kids, forgetting the pain the first, second, or third time. That is true. And Steph says that's the main reason I take super issue with wishy-washy black men. Get out of my face. You had one chance to pursue me. Get the F off.
Hi, Austin. Welcome back. A long time no see.
Yeah, what up, Austin? I don't know, man. Like, it depends on what are you. It's like this. What are you willing to put up with? You know, what are you willing to forgive? Sometimes time, you know, heals wounds. So, like, I could be mad at Shannon for the stuff she did when we were together, but then I start thinking, you know, the morning grits and the French toast that she would make, you know, and the love poems that she wrote me. Then, you know, all of a sudden you're like, you know, it wasn't so bad. Maybe I should go down there. Maybe I'll forgive her for whatever, you know, transgression that she did. You know,
off. I'm not making grits and French toast together.
Well, I didn't mean together.
So, yeah, tacos I make.
The breakfast tacos.
Yeah, all of that. But I think in every situation where you guys fall out of the space you were in, doesn't necessarily have to be something detrimental. It could just be time and opportunity didn't mesh well. You wanted two different things in that moment. Now it's possible that you could come back to a new time and place and then want the same things and then rekindle. It's possible. It's happened.
People do evolve, though. People do evolve. Men make the opportunity. If they want you, they will make it happen.
But just because they want you does not mean that you want them. Let's keep that 100% consistently real. I don't care if they want you or not. If you are not in the time or space, because I've walked away from someone on multiple occasions and then come back to them. So it's not that men are always the ones walking away from it. Women do it too. Guilty.
She's talking about mutual attraction.
Yeah, but there can be a mutual attraction. It does not mean that the time and space is working for you. How many people have you been mutually attracted to and it was just good for a lay and you were like, we're not in the right space to be dating?
She said fuck time and space. Hilarious.
I mean, that's why we single, I guess.
Well, you're not single? I love the sip. Perfect time.
That was some good water.
So, but people do evolve, right?
They do.
Some people I know people who are definitely not the people I came up with, right? I know people that have totally grown up and they are much better people.
Yeah, of course.
I know people who devolved too, though.
This is true.
Where they got worse. I'm like, how do you get worse in life? But it happens, right?
Yep.
So okay, so you had this relationship with this person, right? And let's say it wasn't the best. It wasn't terrible, but it wasn't the best. And then years, a decade goes by, and you're at a house party or whatever, and you run into them, and then all of a sudden, maybe they weren't the most they weren't trying to be somebody when you dated them, but now they got a nice suit on and they have a nice job, and they, you can just see that they're different. They've evolved. And
well, Austin poses the question to what you're saying. Do people evolve, but do they change?
Well, here's the thing. Single life is perpetual, waiting for the other shoe to drop. That's a great thing. Well, it depends though. If the thing was they had no ambition, now they're very ambitious and they're doing very well for themselves. That could be something that gives you, you might want to be in that person's space. Welcome to the show. Ryan's in the house.
Hey, Ryan.
How's it going?
Pretty good.
What do you bring to the conversation? We can't wait to hear about it.
Well, I don't know. I think that I used to give a lot of second chances when I was younger, but I realized over time that the same reasons why you left the person the first time, it's the same is going to be the continual reasons why you're going to leave them the second time, the third time, and whatnot. I think unless you're willing to get therapy, unless you're willing to you see a significant change in an individual, it's not worth revisiting. I've been there. I've done that. You're better off just finding somebody new, because I feel like a lot of the times we know instinctively who we want in our lives. We know what we want, and we second guess ourselves.
Of course we do.
And then we get lonely and we have other goals. Like some people go back into relationships for financial reasons. Some people go back into relationships because they feel more secure, or, they want to bring, their spouse or whomever to a party, just like someone to cling on. So what's good for the gander is good for the goose. But, when you realize over time, it's just not the right choice. And, the one thing that we need to bring up is boundaries. We have boundaries and then they get crossed, and then we grow up resenting the person for those boundaries that are crossed. And if you cannot guarantee that the person's not going to change and really fundamentally change, it's not worth it. I got back with my child's mother after we went to mediation, and mediation really helped us. And this is why we have a really good co-parenting relationship now, because we established goals. And that's why people ask us, like, well, how do you guys still do it? It's like, well, we went to mediation and we actually sat down and asked, what do we want for our son? Like, what were the goals? And then we fell back in love again, but then the same stuff happened and, we went back out. But, I've seen people come back in situations after a time when you grow up and you mature. And I think it's also due to time, but I think most cases if you broke up with them for a reason, it's probably a good reason. But our emotions get the best of us.
Yeah.
But you know what? Sometimes you can break up with somebody because you're just not ready to give them what they need. Like that was my case, right? When I was younger, I just wasn't trying to settle down, and I would get with women who really wanted to settle down,
Mm-hmm.
and then that would be a big issue because I just wasn't there.
Yeah.
So at this point in my life, I am ready to settle down, so I'm in a different place. And so sometimes you just gotta, you gotta get there, right? I would have been a terrible husband.
I hear that. Hey, Aaron, welcome to the show.
What's up, Aaron?
When a man's relationship fails, it's his fault. Tell us more about that, Brooklyn.
That's the thing. They can
It's the thing they decide to
Oh,
settle down, but for women, if you want some kids.
I have something to say about that, Stephanie. I'm glad Stephanie brought that up. Okay, that is a cheat code we have as men, and I love it. And it's a double standard or whatever, but it's a good one in our favor. But if we're on a cruise ship and it's going down, you get off first. So it's trade.
Use that. I don't want that. The difference between a cruise ship and us having kids.
Trade.
The difference between peanut butter and
get off
almond butter, like exactly. Steph. It's like, okay, you're in the middle of the water, and now what?
Okay, did you not see Titanic? Rose made it. Okay,
I mean, Jack was a sweetheart.
Jack was an idiot.
Jack was a sweetheart. Jack said, "I'm gonna sit on top."
Why did like we both gonna get on this piece of wood? But anyway, no, but I hear what she's saying, and that is one of the joys of being a man is that when I can be a bachelor, up until my 70s, and then say, you know what, I'm gonna settle down.
Yeah.
It's time to settle down, and start my family at 70.
I know. I mean, people do it, guys specifically, because I don't know many women having kids at 70.
Be like you be 70 with a 3-year-old, So.
Yeah, no, thank you.
But
you
yeah,
can have a pimpin'.
That is something that we can do as men. So.
And I guess the dynamics of taking someone back would change drastically if it's just someone that you're dating, someone that you're seriously with, opposed to someone that you're married to. Those second chances may look different.
Right. Mm-hmm. What if it's not you? What if it's your mom or your dad or your homeboy or your homegirl, and you're just watching it, and they're going back into it? Would you ever say anything, especially if you were around, and let's say the situation was toxic before?
Nope.
No.
My grandpa gave me the best advice that grandpa could ever give his grandson, and he says, "Never meddle in husband and wife affair." So. You never meddle in husband and wife affair, meaning you don't tell people what to do with their relationships, because often people come back together and then you're the one talking shit about their partner, and usually they're the ones that go and tell the partner what you said.
Such a crucial conflict
in
that relationship, and it's so not worth it.
Yeah, just step away, watch them, give their advice when they ask you for advice, but don't cut them down, because love is a funny thing, and people often go into it blind. So
just put extra jalapenos in his tacos and give him the eyes, so I know you cheat on her.
I've seen some crazy situations. I've seen some crazy. I've seen some crazy situations that people ran back into, and it's just like you just shake your head. I try not to get into it because, like you said, um, people are gonna do what they're gonna do. But it's hard not to though. Sometimes when it's somebody that you love and you care for, and you've seen what it did to them before, and they're going back. They're going back to it. It's crazy. Crazy is hilarious.
They got to sort this shit out. I mean, at the end of the day, you go back because there's something that you realize there's something wrong, because like the past relationship I was in, we broke up like how many times? 5 to 7 times. It was not really breakups, but I'm leaving. Oh, I want out. And then we go back together, back and forth, back and forth. And
Yeah.
I just realized like what I needed to learn from that situation was boundaries. That was my biggest lesson this year, is boundaries. It's like after you do it the first time, you should have get the fuck out of. Excuse me. You should have left. You should have got back in and just stayed out there, because I kept on letting her back in because I knew this girl from my childhood. So like I had a crush on her. So I had something. There was something inside me that always wanted to take her back. But I think for the people that are in those relationships, they have to work out something personal within them. It's not necessarily about the person that they're with. It's just like a personal struggle, like a loop that they keep on going into,
Thank you.
Hey, I want to take a moment. Do you want to give a shout out to everybody in the chat room?
Sure, why not? Let's start to see everybody first off. I see Brooklyn, Aaron, Ramsey, Trey, D, Steph, Austin, Dead, and Q. And then Ryan, of course, is in the feed.
And just real quick, because I normally don't do this on Wednesdays. Wednesday, we have a special show at 6 p.m. Pacific, 9 Eastern, right here on Get Vocal. We'll be interviewing Dwayne Hendricks, who will be talking about the Atlanta child murders, who works directly with Wayne Williams, who was convicted of those crimes. So it's going to be a very good and powerful show. It's on Wednesday, right here on Get Vocal, 6 p.m. Pacific, 9 Eastern. So you'll be able to ask questions and everything. He's going to shed light, on this case that you guys never knew stuff. So it's really cool. And that's Wednesday. All right. So let's get back to second chances, right? So, let me ask you this, Ryan.
Yeah.
Do you feel like when you were in a relationship, you took her back, do you feel like there was something that you needed that you got out of those second chances you gave her? Like it helped you going forward in any kind of way?
Can you rephrase that question?
Okay, so when you took your ex back several times, do you feel like there was something that you got positive out of it, like that you needed to get to a place where you could be free of feelings towards it?
Peace of mind. I mean, I just wanted to feel better. I don't like to be, I don't like to have problems with my exes, and I don't like to have problems with the people that are my friends. So like sometimes I took her back just because it was like, just to feel good again, because like breakups are tough, and having to go through that, a month or two, just like having to recalibrate. Nobody wants to go through that. And sometimes like, when you get into a really bad fight, you want to have sex with them afterwards. Breakup sex. I mean, like you kind of like, these are like, there's just, you're supercharged with emotions and hormones and all kinds of things. But it's like, I think it's just temporary gain, and I think that you don't really get anything out of it because, for the most parts, you don't really resolve what the problem is. You're not really resolving it. And sometimes, and we went to counseling too. We went counseling to try to resolve it, and it didn't work. And and I think too, like there's a hope. See, probably 70% of the time, things are great. You're cooking together, you're traveling together, you are, you're having fun together. So there's like 30% of you that's like, okay, she can change or he can change. And you want them to change because you don't want to, like, especially when you're past 30, I don't know any of us that want to go back into the dating circuit. You know, to have to go through the ghosting and having to go through the Tinders and having to go through all those things. I personally don't. So you want to work it out with the person because, you know, especially if you have something established with that person, mutual friends, lifestyles, it's a big disruption, right? So you want it to work. You want to give them a second chance, but sometimes it's at our own detriment.
Yeah. So Ramsey says second chances are all about self-respect. How many times are you going to allow anyone to crap on you and your emotions? Social Steph follows that up and says everybody has problems. You just have to find somebody that has problems you don't mind dealing with.
Amen.
That part.
Everybody has problems except for me, of course.
Except for who?
Except for me.
Except for tacos. Tacos don't have problems.
Tacos.
Oh, tacos fall apart and everybody still loves them. So
Sometimes I have problems.
yeah.
Yeah. That's interesting though. You still here? Hilarious.
Oh, Ryan.
I mean, how much sex is part of this too, though? Like,
You're walking down a slippery slope, Ryan.
how much is sex a part of it? To be honest with you, like, because that's a recurring theme that we keep talking about on the show. So, how much of it is that? Like, you miss them sexually. If the sex ain't right, you might as well as it did. You did. Wow.
I don't know many people going back to a relationship if the sex isn't good.
Yeah. Sex locks is good sex locks you down.
Wait a minute though. Isn't sex a team sport though?
It depends.
Like, so are you as responsible for the bad sex as your partner is?
No.
No?
There are some individual sports in this field of experimentation.
Nah, I can't say that. Some people don't take direction well.
Right. I was like, no, you cannot blame someone else's interestingness.
Well, so how do you determine then which person, what some people are horrible students. So just as a side note, how do you determine which person is at fault for the bad sex? Those are those who need more.
How do you determine? You just know.
No, what I'm saying is one person can say it. Like I've seen situations where the one person
They blame each other.
Yeah, they blame each other, right? It's like,
sometimes you're just not sexually compatible if we're gonna go there and have that conversation. And like I said, sometimes people have too many hangups. It's the ability to talk about and work through where you guys are having an inconsistency or you're not meshing well. Don't use your teeth, honey. And
the point I'm really making is a lot of times people will say what I'm saying is what I'm really saying is some people think the problem is the other person, but when sometimes
you have to be there's a thing about sex, especially when you're in an intimate relationship with somebody that you care about, where you have to be vulnerable and humble and willing to take some feedback, because you may not be on your game tonight, or you may have never been on your game and they love you so much and they just don't want to tell you, but now they feel like they need to tell you, and you're like, what? I've been doing wrong all this time. And of course, Steph said if he's endowed with 3 inches, you can't really fix that. Yeah, we're not penises, and we're not even gonna have that conversation because I think I might break down Hive. So back down the road.
He's a little meat better.
Can I ask a question? Like, do anyone in the room hold out on good sex because your partner is not giving you the right kind of sex? Like, you could go to like 100 if you wanted to, but you kind of hold back and give them about 40% because
I may stop and talk to them. Okay, so what is happening right now? Did you get Did you get suspended at work, or did you get a ticket you want to tell me about? Did you take money out of the account that we haven't discussed it? Like, where are you at right now? Why are you not
Oh.
giving all of yourself to me? Like, what is going on? We need to have this conversation. Because I came in this bedroom with or this kitchen counter or wherever we may be. I came with 100% today. What are you doing, my guy? I need to know.
Hilarious. All right, so we really deviated from the topic. All right.
You started it. Talk about let's talk about sex.
No. I mean, as the second chance.
Long story shorter, if the sex is good, second chances are more likely to happen. If it's whack, there ain't no need to go back. There, the end.
Can you turn a relationship? I'm talking about an actual relationship, a boyfriend-girlfriend relationship, into just one aspect of a relationship, which is a sexual relationship. So, like, as a second chance, is like, look, we didn't work as a couple, so let's just have sex because that worked. That was the only thing that worked. Is that even? You think that worked?
So the sex carries the relationship?
No, like it's somebody you dated back in the past. The only good thing about the situation was the sex, and then you run into him, and he's like, "Let's not get into a relationship because that didn't work. Let's just."
I got into a lot of trouble.
Yeah, that's.
I got into a lot of trouble. Yeah. Anyway, it's not a good.
I'm not gonna be able to do it. Like, yeah, cause my love box connected to my heart box. Yeah. No, I ain't gonna be able to do it. Like,
Absolutely. I like how you said it. Part of it is, yes. That's a dangerous area. I don't.
That part, Steph.
If I have feelings with.
I was like, these things are connected.
I mean, is that a second chance? That's like a half a chance. Somewhere in between chance or something.
That's not a second chance. That's just an extension of your relationship.
They say it's the setup. Amen. Pass the collection plate, please. That's a whole word.
We get some because you're lonesome. Now, lonesome. That's a great point. A lot of people giving someone a second chance is because they're lonely, right? There's a lot of lonely ass people out there, and a lot of times it ain't who you think it is, right? Mm. There's a lot of hot chicks that are lonely on Friday nights.
Gotta go buy some tacos, get you some gelato.
No,
they have buy one get one free. So at Publix,
I've given second chances because I felt lonely. So, do you even realize that's what it is when it happens, or is that just kind of like subconscious? You think?
I just go eat some cookies.
A lot of people are scared to be alone. That don't deal with their own.
That's true.
Do you think most people are you consciously like, I'm lonely, so I'm gonna mess with this food, or is that just like kind of a subconscious thing? You think?
I think if the opportunity strikes that someone is lonely, they'll capitalize on it.
Mm-hmm. Mm. They weigh in the pros and the cons. They're like, well, person's ugly, but the finances are pretty good.
We have fun when we're together.
Yeah.
Look, I know what that mouth do. It beats me staying at home and Netflixing and chilling by myself.
Yeah. I think logically, it's because you feel lonely, but that's the emotion void that needs to be filled. But then, I feel like this is how I feel. Like when you get into situations because of loneliness that you're with somebody that you don't, really want to be with. I think it hurts you really get the person you want to be with because you're wasting your time with someone you don't really want to be with. But, so what do you do? Like, unless you're just actively screwing around on them or looking, so how do you navigate that? Sometimes you want to be with them, but you don't need to be with them. Yeah.
There's a good scripture about that. Everything is for pleasure, but it does not mean it's permissible. Like everything is not beneficial for you.
No, those who laugh the most cry the most.
I don't like to cry. It gives me headache.
Someone's rather adjacent tonight. Hilarious. I wonder who he's talking about there.
Can't be talking about me.
Um,
I am wholesome.
right. So I don't know, man. Loneliness is a big one. That we make a lot of decisions based on that, right? A lot of times during the holidays, that's when people are the most lonely, right? So, all right, Ramsey.
Ramsey. Yeah. Well, they'll find someone to be with so they don't have to be alone.
Right.
But holidays bring about so many different things for so many different people, and they're not always happy times. So that makes sense to me.
Mm-hmm.
Not necessarily for me, but to me.
Right. What do you think is the worst holiday to be alone on?
My birthday. I'm just kidding. I enjoy being alone on my birthday, but yeah, my birthday. Because that means I'm not getting no gifts. Steph said Valentine's.
Valentine's. And you know, one thing about that's worse for Valentine's is then you see other people, you know, booed up, you know, and doing things for their mates. And then you're at your job and your coworkers has gotten flowers at the job, you know, and it's
sensory overload.
And then people say stuff, they ain't seen you with no man or no woman. And people say, so did you get a Valentine's today? And you're like, Valentine is the worst. I
buy myself a chocolate. It's not a problem.
So I think that spending, these holidays alone or not wanting to spend your holiday alone could lead you to, well, let me give some, like let me go a place that I've gone before, even though I know it's not good. Right. Mm-hmm. So ladies and gentlemen, how many people have gotten a call from somebody that you used to mess with, like, years later, just out the blue, right? And they try to act like they're just calling you because hilarious. They try to act like they're calling you because you were just on my mind. And I just wanted to say hi, but you know what they're trying to do.
I do that.
Oh, so you do that? Oh, so you call guys that you used to?
Not necessarily call them. I'd be like, text, like, hey, I haven't talked to Joe Blow in like 3 years. How you doing?
So okay, so
I'm not calling them, but I might text them and say hi. Sometimes I have people on my brain, so I may stop and pray about them. I may stop and send them a text. It depends on how I feel.
So what are you hoping for the call? I mean, I've done that before.
9 times out of 10, I'm hoping they change their number. And that somebody will be like, wrong number. But 80% of the time, that's not the case. Mm-hmm. Then I get a response back, and I'm like, oh, I wasn't expecting a response.
And how many of you, I'm gonna ask the guys this first. How many of you guys want to revisit coochie from the past?
When you put it that way, you are just so rude.
Yeah, I mean, sometimes, maybe you was the jerk, why it ended or whatever. And sometimes you might want to, the ghost of coochie past. That's right. Right. That's exactly what I call it.
This is so bad.
Hell no. Nobody know. I'm the only one.
I mean,
you're not making it sound appealing. Well, I'm not trying.
I was just about to say, it does not sound like something anybody would want to do.
It shouldn't be appealing. It shouldn't be appealing. It's just something that, you might be. It might be a Friday night and plans A through C is not working, and you don't like D through G. So you might. You might get the Rolodex and go in the Wayback Machine.
And it depends on who you are connecting with.
I'm the only one up in here who went back to the Wayback Machine. I can't be the only one.
The Wayback Machine?
Yeah. only if they upgraded somehow. Desperation is horrible standpoint to start from. Oh wow. I mean, I don't know if I was desperate. Maybe I just wanted to revisit old conquest. Okay, don't hate. Don't judge me.
Oh, this is
I
getting
feel,
good.
I feel, I feel like I'm being judged here. Thank you, Stephanie. Yes.
I mean, it is what it is.
I look. Sometimes I regretted it. A lot of times I didn't regret
Look,
it.
sometimes you feel like
And see, you're getting desperate. Okay,
sometimes
Brooklyn. Okay. Uh,
just go back to the old commercial. To sell them. Sometimes you feel like a nut, sometimes you don't.
right.
Man, Joyce got nuts.
I don't know. My plan A through C is pretty dope. You know. I'm not saying I do it now, but I have in the past.
Even though mounds are disgusting and so are almond joy, but that's a whole nother
I like
discussion.
almond joy.
Yuck. I like nuts, but not almond joy. Yeah, no judgment, but I am judging. So
Ooh, ain't that nothing?
sometimes I revisit because this person has good sex and they don't cause problems. They are easy to get along with. Gross, no almond joy. Amen to that.
I like almond joy. I'm gonna stand.
No,
I don't like mounds, but I'm gonna stand up for almond joy though.
no.
That's right. I'll take all the almond joys.
I mean, I'll take almond joys too, figuratively, not literally.
Oh, okay. But no. So like I said, sometimes that's some people do that, right? They, you know, they go back. Is that a second chance?
But what about those second chances that actually prove to be fruitful, that actually are good for you, that actually are beautiful?
Okay, let's talk about that. I don't know. Like, is it fruitful if it doesn't end in like? Are all relationships that don't end in marriage failures?
Are all, say that again, all relationships?
That don't end in marriage failures.
No, I said there are lessons, not losses. Like, we aren't destined to be with everyone that we come in contact with. There are people that you can learn from, grow from, experience life with. They give you the gift of conversation. They help develop you as a person. They show you patience. They show you what you've been praying for on a level that you haven't yet to experience, just to show you that there is greater out there. Like, everyone that we come in contact with is offering us something, but that does not mean they're offering us forever. What is it? Reasons, seasons, and lifetimes. So you take the lesson and don't consider it a loss.
Okay.
Because if you always look at things as a loss, that's to the detriment of your experience. Because there is beauty even in departure.
No, I don't personally. I don't think that just because it didn't end in happily ever after that the relationship is a failure.
I know it wasn't you, bruh. I was passing on to all the little heathens in the congregation that needed to hear the word. Can I get an amen?
Hallelujah and amen. And everybody, I am a pastor now. So
At church, we meet every Monday at 6 p.m. Pacific Standard Time.
everybody knows. I posted it on look at D. I am a certified minister now. So
Yeah, but do not ask him to officiate your wedding. So D said relationships teach you about what you do not, what you want and what you don't want, your likes and your dislikes. I think relationships also teach you about who you are as a person, not just what you want and you don't want, but who you are. It stretches you. It reminds you of sometimes how selfish you are, sometimes how, forgiving, as Steph had mentioned earlier. There are sometimes it's a mirror of who you are as a person and things that you like about yourself and don't like about yourself, and things that you like about that person and don't like about that person. But relationships, if you take them into consideration for what they're worth, it can be just as much as a growth and development of the relationship as it is the growth and development of you, the person.
Okay, so let's get personal. Okay.
Okay, let's get personal. You about to be in my business.
So Shannon,
Oh, I knew it.
here's a guy who you dated in the past.
Mhm.
And let's just say it wasn't the greatest relationship. He wasn't terrible. He wasn't Ike Turner. But it just didn't work out the first time, right?
Okay.
So let's say it's been 5, 10 years. You run into this brother, right?
How funny. How funny.
And what would you need to see for Shannon to say, I'll give this guy another shot? And what's up, Sybil?
I think at the heart of the matter is probably change behavior. Why did I walk away from him to begin with? Transparency moment. I've had something not as egregious as Mike. Hey,
What's
um,
up?
I had something similar to that statement, but not in that time frame. So we'll just go along with the story. So this guy came back into my life after maybe 2 years, and he made these statements about how he couldn't get me out of his mind, and kind of what that meant to him. And of course, me being who I am, little smarty two shoes, I was like, so where's all this coming from? Is it coming from your head, your heart, your spirit, or your penis? Because I need to know, because you're not about to waste my time. Like, get time for that. And so his response was something that I could test. Of course, he did not say his penis, thank the Lord. But what he said, I was like, okay, we're going to test this theory. Like, and you get one opportunity to show and prove. If this is not really what you want and this is not really who you are, and we're not moving in the accordance with these thoughts and processes, then we can just say goodbye. Kiss and say goodbye, whatever. Great, shout out to the Manhattans. But it was so hilarious because I wouldn't let up. I was like, why are you here? Who sent you? Because you are circling back for what reason? I don't want to be nobody's second string. So I don't know. I mean, you have to. Somebody said earlier, you have to look at each situation on a case by case basis and trust that the decision that you're making is good for you and not just the other person. I don't want to waste time, and I think Steph just said that a few minutes ago. So it is absolutely imperative that you see something that is indicative of change behavior. And if you don't see that, I'm good. No, thank you. I'm gonna go order my tacos and bye.
I'll say this. Sometimes you'll appreciate people that you've dated after you've dated other people.
Oh, for sure.
And then you're like, you know what? She wasn't so bad, or he wasn't so bad. So um so sometimes a couple of years without Shannon in your life, you might be like, man, I really did, Shannon was pretty cool. Like, I'm gonna try to get her back, try to win her heart back with tacos. So that's definitely something that could happen. So you said learn behavior or change behavior.
Yeah, change behavior.
And I mean, is it possible? Yes, it's very much possible. Is it probable? Probably not, though. Most cases, there was a reason why y'all didn't make it. I wish somebody would try to win me back, just so I can say no. Oh, Stephanie. I love Stephanie.
Yeah, I'm willing to walk down that road for the right person.
Yeah. I don't know, man. Um, it's one of those things that most situations you try to get back into are not going to be successful, and that's just what it is. And it's unfortunate, but it is what it is.
But sometimes you got to take the risk, and that's what life and love and pursuit of happiness is all about. It's about weighing the risk. Some of us like to take big risks, and some of us don't like to take big risks. We like to take more calculated risks on the I don't want to lose too much side. And that's okay. And no judgments there. But for those who are like me, who like to take those big risks, you understand that in taking those big risks, you could win big, or you could win, or you could lose big. In essence, and I mean loss of time. And you have to consider that's where the perspective changes. You have to consider it not a loss, it's an experience. But yeah, sometimes you want to reach. And I always say, never let the fear of striking out keep you from playing the game.
Can you, if you friend zone somebody, can you ever see them in a different light? Give them a second chance to, or is that even possible once you've friend zoned them? She says yes, Kiana.
So the more, say it again. I'm sorry.
So like it depends on why they in the friend zone. If you friend zone somebody because
them more than that after you friend zone them,
right?
I think it depends. I think sometimes we naturally find people that we want to enjoy the sweetness of a friendship with, so we automatically put them in the friend zone, not realizing that some of the greatest love stories stem from really great friendships. So I don't know. I don't know nothing about it. I'm single.
Do you have any experience with putting someone in a friend zone and then seeing them in a different light later?
Not that I recall. Because I usually like people. Like if I usually am attracted to people, like spot on, like yeah, for some reason or another. People that I put in the friend zone, they definitely were meant to be my friends, and nothing more.
Like, have you ever been put in a friend zone?
I'm sure I probably have been. I mean, but that's okay. I'm a really good friend.
No, how are you single? Wait, he goes, I heard the friend zone feels like you're in bed. That's funny. How are you single? What happened?
Steph, oh, are you talking to me too?
Yeah.
How am I single?
Yeah.
What do you mean? I mean, I've been single since 1982. I'm not married. No ring on this thing.
Test driving bit. Stephanie's hilarious.
Stephanie's a hoot, but I embrace
Stephanie. Wow, so you can actually have sex with people you put in the friend zone. That's interesting. I thought that was the whole point of putting them in the friend zone.
Hey, some people, once you engage them on a deeper level in terms of friendship, because we evolve, there might be something about them that you're like, yo, that's dope. You dope. Like,
who made these regulations? Hilarious. Can you
take?
Right. Hilarious. Okay, so let's get to our last thoughts about this topic, second chances.
I'm here for it. I believe in second chances, not for everybody in their circumstantial.
What about like just can you give second chances to people you're not in a romantic relationship with who's done you wrong in some sort of way? Like, I mean, I've had to do that with family members. I've had to do it with, or I've had to think hardly about it with friends and family and whatnot. And I'll be honest with you, once I feel like a certain way about you, it's hard to get me to go back. Like I'm really stuck to if once I perceive someone a certain way, like I have family members I haven't talked to in a long time because of some BS,
you got to do the light work. Sometimes that's based on the way things were handled, how you responded, how they reacted, whatever the case may be, how the situation has transpired over time, how deep the wounds are, whether or not you unpack those traumas. Like sometimes it's not worth. There's a difference between reconciliation and restoration. I mean, you can reconcile someone to your life, or you can restore the forgiveness aspect of it without piecing them back together. Like, it's okay to forgive somebody and not have them back in your life, in my opinion.
I remember Ryan said something, if the person is upgraded. So, you know, what do you like, if he's still out there, what does he mean by upgraded? They've lost weight, they got a better job. Yeah, they have a better job, better social status. They're on some reality TV show now, so they're got a little fame to them. Like, wait, is this whole idea of someone upgrade? They glowed up. So you dated them when they was broke, and now they balling.
A myth.
So a guy broke up with me because his dad told him that, wow, I'm too fat. I'd never take him back, and he's tried many times.
And that's the unfortunate thing. A lot of times we get into relationships or situations where our friends and family dictate how we continue in those things. And then when we realize that we have a backbone that's not indicative of someone toying us around like we're some stringed puppet, then we realize, oh, I effed that thing up. So, yeah, we're glad you didn't take him back and his loss.
Yeah. And I mean, he's stupid anyway. It's like,
For real.
his dad wasn't dating you.
Like, for real. His dad probably wanted to get some, but
I know, right? He was clearing away for himself, possibly.
Sometimes people try to disrupt your program so they can get in the mix.
Send a clock to his house. Yeah, it's crazy. I've heard situations like that before, so it's crazy though. I ain't never had nobody in my family or any otherwise do that, So
yeah, it's too much.
But then again, I don't really bring a lot of women around my family until I feel like, she's someone special. So it takes.
Same here. None of my family has met anyone.
Yeah. So, but they about to meet somebody really quick soon, right?
Talking about you?
No, you.
I need you to stay out of my business.
I feel like it. It's happening.
Well, I hope I don't go home until next September for my sister's wedding. But
I feel like you're gonna take somebody home for Thanksgiving.
I'm gonna be in New Orleans for Thanksgiving, so that answer's no. And I don't have family there. So yeah.
To have dinner or be dinner.
Man, listen, dude. Don't nobody want none of these problems. But yeah, I will eventually. I mean, my grandparents are still alive. They're in their 90s. My grandmother, I'm always joking with her about things. And she's like, oh, don't marry for this. Marry for this. And my grandfather is just like, you're going to find you a nice guy to settle down with? And I'm like, I don't know, Grandpa. We'll see.
I think so. I think you're going to meet somebody. It's going to be a brother from the South. He's going to have him a nice little house on a ranch with a porch swing, and you're going to make sweet tea. And
I love porch swing. My grandparents said I could have theirs.
See, it's going to be fine. You're going to have pigs.
No. No, not like it's chickens right outside the house. I don't want no pigs. I don't even want the chickens outside the house, but they everywhere.
Yeah, it's gonna be awesome. Grandpa knows all the nicest boys. Hilarious. This porch swing scenario, hilarious.
Andy, listen, every time I go home, I'm like, everybody, all the grandkids know the porch swing that we grew up in, having my uncle push us on the front porch at my grandparents' house. Everybody know that porch swing is mine. My grandfather was like, you can get you a new porch swing for cheaper than it's going to cost you to take that back home with you. I was like, no, I want this porch swing. I have way too many memories.
I remember when I was in, just as a side note, I was in a small town in Georgia, and they had a hammock in front. So I got in the hammock, right?
You fell?
No. I'm just cool in the hammock. And then the people that lived there, they were talking about how one day a rattlesnake got into the hammock while somebody was in there, and that was the end of my hammock. I was like, oh no! I was like, I never even thought about like, I was like, oh man, they just totally killed my hammock dream.
That would have threw me off. I would have been like, ooh.
Yeah. And they would say it so matter of factly, and then and I'm like, but like, oh, it's no big deal. It happens. I'm like,
yeah,
Leah, the life coach, is up in the house.
So, yeah, I've met my share of critters, so I don't even think I wouldn't even probably blinked.
Snakes just want to cuddle. Hilarious.
They do. They want to cuddle right around your throat.
Yeah, and Danny's here too. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna say goodbye, and then we'll have our after show. So Shannon, how can we get you in social media and all that good stuff?
Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. You can follow me at Shannon _the president _Chuckerson the president. I do want to give a short announcement though. I just have my second White Book meeting on Saturday, so I am moving to the next stage of my editing process. So I'm moving on to what is called the beta book. So we go from a white book to a black book. I'm really excited. So Dismantling Daddy Dysfunctions and All the Men I Loved After Him will be out in 2020.
I can't wait. I can't wait. I cannot wait.
I can't wait either. So how can we follow you on social media?
You can follow me at Kente F on Twitter, Kente Ferguson on Instagram, and of course the website is new and improved indyradio.org. That's INDY radio.org. And we will be back next week with an all new episode, working on what that will be. And then of course Wednesday. Mark this down, you guys. I know I've said it like twice already. We will have Dwayne Hendricks, and he's going to come on to talk about the Atlanta child murders. And he is the person who is working with Wayne Williams, the guy who was convicted for the murder. So it's going to be a great show. It's going to be live here on Get Vocal. So make sure you guys come. It's Wednesday, 6 p.m. Pacific, 9 Eastern, live right here. All right. So that's going to be a great episode. And he has a lot to talk about. We had a great conversation. So with all that said, we'll see you next time.
Bye.